They just had a news report on about some deer ransacking a town, and I thought that was very interesting. The deer seem to have gotten onto people's properties and ate their crops and just certain things like they destroyed their property or whatever. I guess banged some stuff up, and the people were trying to uh, appeal to the city council to do something about it. And I don't know what that do something about it would be, and that's why it got me thinking. First of all, the attitude and behavior of humans, because we're the dominant species, or so we think, on this planet, and we have a very arrogant attitude about nature. And I'm always out here in nature. And that's why I always talk to y'all, because nature is beautiful. And keep in mind, without these trees, we don't live. Without these trees, we have no air, no oxygen. These trees are vital to the human existence, and vice versa. And we're vital to the trees because we give the trees carbon dioxide. So my thing is this: people do not respect nature, and that's just a bad thing. And you're going in a bad direction when you do stuff like that. So I wonder what are they going to do with these deer? Because the deer are just living where they always live. You guys infringe into these woodlands, and then you expect the deer to not cross paths with you. Now, I see all the time when I do these videos, I tell y'all about deer I encounter on a day-to-day basis just walking out here. I have no intentions of trying to rid this area of those deer when I have to walk out here because I want to walk. And so that is just very lame on humans. And the deer are just wild and free. But speaking of wild, that's a nice segue to bring me into what I really want to talk about, because it's not about deer, obviously. If this was a nature, video, I would be talking about the deer. But this is not for that purpose. This is what I just wanted to talk about, the nature of the animal, which is the deer, because the deer is wild and free, and it's a deer. And its wildness is not robbing people, and its wildness is not fighting or displaying violence or doing things like that. I don't know what deer life is like. I don't know how deers live in their packs or however they travel. I don't know. But I do know that I had a question on my mind. And some of you guys, I wonder what you think. What is it to be civilized? What is being civilized? What is being civil? What is that? I hear a lot of people identify themselves as animals and they behave like animals. So I'm imagining that being civilized is holding some type of moral standard to the rest of society, with the rest of society, I'm sorry. And I guess people who feel being civilized is some type of bougie act, then I know that you have low IQs. You can't possibly believe that you're intelligent if you don't understand the importance of being civilized and living in a civilized world that we live in today, and why that's important to so many things, key to our very existence. Because conflict always brings destruction at some point. Uncivilized behavior is when I can't pump gas without having to murder someone. Because remember, you saw that happened. That literally happened to someone. That's a real life tale right there. That's not even made up. You guys have seen that footage. When you do things like that, you are living like an animal. You are reckless. And I gave y'all an analogy about, for instance, these uncivilized people. If there were a rabid dog in your neighborhood running around biting people and trying to bite you, what would you want me to do to that dog? What would you expect the animal control to do to that dog? You think they should just like put a leash on it and pet it and let it go? Would you want them to do that? So when you behave in crass ways, and I'm talking about severely crass, when you show that type of behavior, when you're cursing people, when you're ill. I was wondering today, I was on my mind, I was like, what's the deal with all these thug heroes and thug villains and shit? Like all these people who want to be badasses. And it got me thinking, because I'm like, I noticed that everyone else that I deal with in my existence, in my travels, they're of the same vibration as me, and I have a good way with them. There is no conflict. But when I'm dealing with people who vibrate on a lower level, there's always room for conflict or potential for conflict to be ignited. Always. Any fight I've gotten into, trust me, I did not start the fight. Now I may have finished some of those fights, but I'm gonna tell you right now, because I'm a justice person. When I say justice, I'm not walking around like Captain America. No. When I say justice, I'm talking about you get what you gave. You don't have a right to infringe on any of us and then expect us not to deliver some kind of swift justice to you, because that's what should happen. You antisocial fools, man. If I can't safely walk down the street, or if there's trash blowing, it takes a behavior of someone in a low place to create an environment and live in it and maintain it. You don't throw the trash in the can, you throw it beside the can, because it looks better on the ground, because there's trash everywhere else, so why not just fucking add to it? And you wonder, I call y'all barbershop people, and that's no offense to barbershops. It's terminology, what I'm saying. There's certain people that you see in the barbershop who talk a talk, and they don't walk the walk, but they talk it. And they're full of shit, and they always got something for sale that they stole, or there's always some shit going on, or they're always up in something, moving and shaking and shit, talking some BS. Y'all always are doing things to other people, and then you wonder why justice is delivered to you. You breaking in someone's home, and then when they shoot you, people try to explain something. What is there to explain? See, you infringed on someone's rights. Their right to have peace, their right to have comfort in their home. You infringed on that. Do y'all get where I'm going with this? When I talk about justice, I'm not talking about freaking Walker, Texas Ranger, where that is justice too. Because I like those shows. I used to look at that shit. But, no, really. You know, this is a serious thing right here, because anything that you don't like in your society right now, anything that you can rant and rave about in the privacy of your living room or at the coffee table, having morning coffee with your colleagues. And it doesn't matter what race you are, because whatever your issue is, it's probably valid. They talk about having a sit down. I was looking at that too on the news, and they were talking about some kind of way of coming together with all this violence in the communities, between the police and the communities and stuff like that. And I'm all for that. And they keep saying we need to have the talk. But the talk should be two-pronged. Yes, okay. Yeah, y'all want to acknowledge, okay, law enforcement may have been a little rough in certain situations, and it resulted in someone's death, and that is where they have to make amends at. But I'm tired of hearing people talk about what the police have to do, and then they themselves do not change something on their end. Because see, if the police can't chase you if you're not robbing a store, and then you don't have to worry about that. if you get stopped and you try to pull off, don't pull off. Do what normal people do. And then let me tell you this. I don't want to hear that shit. That street shit. You know why? Because that is not intelligent. Now, how many times have I been stopped in my life? Do I drive? Yeah. How many times have I been stopped in my life? You don't know. I'm not going to give you the answer. It doesn't really matter. The point is that if I have ever gotten a ticket from a cop ever in my life, why am I talking to you about it right now? So somehow you guys are like animals. That's why I'm tying this back in. I told you I like to stitch stuff. I'm tying this all back into the beginning. You are like animals. You're savage. You're uncivilized. And you do things and you act and behave in certain ways that make people want to get rid of you by any means. If that means violence, if that means fighting you, if that means locking you up, getting you away from everybody else because you are a fucking toxic problem. Any of you. If you're willing to break in someone's home, they should be willing to shoot you because they don't know what you're going to do. Are you going to break in to kill them? Are you breaking in and do something to them? They don't know that. So they should have a peace of mind in their home. But because your brain works in a certain way, you don't grab that you're a person and they're a person. I keep saying this stuff. You don't grab that. It's starting to come down too. This has been happening all week. I love it though. I love it. Keeps the bugs down. But you guys are like bugs in some ways. That's what I mean by people trying to get rid of you. You know, when people use roach analogies, I get that. I didn't get that until I got to a certain point in my life where I understood some things. I don't really care if you think my idea of being a sellout is not saying the N-word because my intelligence level makes me not say it. And I can talk to y'all without saying it. Is my message any less effective if I don't say it? Because your intelligence level is low. You're savage. So when people rank you as a bottom feeder in this generation, it's not because of your skin color. I'm telling you it's not. It's probably because you are a BR. That's how I'm going to put it like that. To be nice about it. You are a BR and your IQ is really, really low. And that's another thing too. Like I said, if a test score says something, that's what it says. What do you want me to do? What do you want anyone to do? I don't want to live among savages, uncivilized people. If living amongst uncivilized people means I won't get robbed, or I won't see someone getting shot on the news in my community, or I won't see a crackhead walking around, or I won't have my car stolen, or any of these low grade things because your asses cannot make it on your own in society because you don't have the tools in your head. So we have a bunch of BRs procreating with other BRs and making many BRs, and these people cannot sustain themselves in the world. So what do? They go out and they rob and kill. They can't sustain their emotions, so they go out and rape and pillage and do the most evil, heinous things. And then you look at that blank stare in their eyes in the mugshot. You just want to punch them in the fucking mouth. But that's not going to fix what's going on up here. So we do need to get rid of these people. And I do talk about these people. I point them out because y'all need to see them too. They're going to harm you one day. They're going to be the ones who do this or do that. And I told you it's not all about necessarily violence too on that extreme. It's just in any encounter when you're less than the best you can be. So yeah, all you low-level savage motherfuckers, you can fuck off. And if you think me being civilized is me trying to be bougie, you just show me your intelligence more and more, and it's not much. I don't love you. I do, however, love your bad behavior.